Up to 120,000 fans attended the first World Championship race in Formula One in 1950 at Silverstone for the first official championship, British Grand Prix. Little did they know at the time Formula One would end up conquering the world as the most popular motorsport worldwide. And today we are set here to relive this back in the 1950 Silverstone Grand Prix here, as we are racing the 1950 Alfa Romeo Formula One car and recreating the first ever race in Formula One. Absolutely fantastic stuff here. We're doing a 10-lap race with 20 drivers overall. And there was some interesting facts that come along with this first official event in Formula One. There was a Thai prince and a Swiss baron that took part in this event. The average age of the field was 39 years old. Imagine that in today's world of Formula One, where we see drivers, of course, most of them in their young to mid 20s conquering the grid here in Formula One. Now, the real Grand Prix was actually won by Nino Farina, and it was Luigi Fagioli who would come up in second place, and as well in third place to round off the podium was Reg Parnell, as we try to see what we can recreate ourselves as Formula One and working our way through this field. Of course, the handling and the speeds of these cars, a completely different dynamic here. An absolute handful these cars are, as you're going to see me working on the wheel throughout this video, but it is so awesome that we can relive the history of Formula One all the way back to its roots, through modding capabilities in Assetto Corsa. As you can see myself starting to get a little bit of comfortability in the way that this classic car drives, and just look at this, the speed's still quite high for this time. As you can see myself getting a little bit out of shape right there, having a bit of a trip through the grass, but we continue on, but just barely upwards over 100 miles per hour there on the run down towards this 1967 version of Silverstone. Would still follow the same layout as the 1950 edition. Of course, Formula One, this was the first official event, championship race in Formula One, but as well, it goes further back than just that here. Now, as you can see, 3-wide action in 1950 Formula One cars. Now, absolutely spectacular. You have to go back a few years to 1947 when the World Drivers' Championship was actually formalized. It would take from 47 until 1950 for the actual first championship race right here in Silverstone. Now, as you can see myself trying to continue to move forward throughout this field here. A little bit of contact actually, but we get through there unscathed now as we would continue on. Now, although this was the first championship race in Formula One, it was not actually the first official F1 race. That was actually a non-championship race at Pau, which was held just a month before the British Grand Prix here. As you can see us getting a little bit extracurricular activities there just about now, as a bit of a block thrown on us here now, but really the speeds of these cars, of course, significantly lower than the current Formula One cars, and the handling a lot worse than current Formula One cars, but the thrill is still there. They are a blast to drive in just a video game form, and it allows you to just kind of put yourself back in time and admire the history of where Formula One was, and you can appreciate where it started, and of course where it has gotten to now, where it is such a popular motorsport worldwide. As we were continuing throughout the field, moving up into 12th, it was actually Fangio currently out in front over Fagioli, who finished second in the real Grand Prix, as we had already stated. Now, as well, and another fascinating fact about this Grand Prix, it was actually a jazz musician that finished in 11th place, named Johnny Claes. I probably said his last name wrong, but very diverse field in the first championship race, of course. As you can see, understeer, a big thing, definitely. The brakes, they don't work very good in this 1950 Formula One car, but they do love to understeer on the entrance, the middle center of the corner, and then on that exit, they're really trying to step out from under you here, and you can see myself quite a few times having to counter-steer this automobile now as well. You look at the steering wheel, such a massive difference. So you just got that wooden round rim that you're dealing with, and the wheel is massive. It's almost the same width as the actual car that we're in. So just imagine the drivers not only having to be up on that size of a wheel compared to what drivers have now, as we continue to struggle a little bit there getting up to grips with the car, but as well, it was not a paddle shifting car, of course, in this generation of Formula One. They were having to go down and get their hands on the stick shift, get on the gears there, and handle this absolute beast around this circuit as well. These cars, only going up just over 100 miles per hour here in Silverstone in the game, but it is an absolute thrill at the same time. It's a lot slower pace racing, but there's still a lot of finesse that goes into it as well, and I just love tackling this circuit here, this 1950 circuit. I would love to take a modern F1 car actually around this configuration and see what would happen, but it was Fagioli actually who would take the lead of this Grand Prix about halfway through. Just a 10-lap race that we're doing here, but now you can see Fagioli trying to drive away, and chasing him in the second position was, in the real-life race, the 14th place finisher, the Frenchman of Cabantus, as I probably got that name terribly wrong. I apologize to the family now. As we continue on, you can see us making up some ground, 12.6 seconds to the leader. The real life race as well had 22 cars, 24 drivers, but actually 22 cars competing. So 24 drivers entered, 22 cars actually competing, as 7th and 13th apparently were not assigned, which is something that I've been learning about this Grand Prix as I've been kind of researching it leading into creating this video. So obviously only 20 cars here that we have in this race, in this mod. As you can see myself continuing to really tackle this car, get a little bit more comfortable. Now we're upwards of 120 miles per hour actually on the run down towards turn 1, and going for a move up the inside of Farina right here, the second place, of course, finisher. Now in the mod here, it says actually G Farina instead of Nino Farina. I'm not sure if that's just a mistake in the mod or they were just changing around some of the first names. When I was looking into this mod, some of the first names were different for drivers compared to, of course, the real life race, but then some also were accurate. So a little bit weird there. I'm not 100% sure the reasoning behind that now, but we continue making some headway as the comfort in this car continues to build. It's such a, quote-unquote simplistic automobile compared to the modern day Formula One car, but there's still a craft to it that these drivers had to, pick up and adapt on and acquire and finesse and whatnot. And I was learning that very quickly, that although it's such a simple race car to what we have now, you still have to find the comfortability, understand how it's going to react to what you're doing, of course, and the grip levels and whatnot. And once you kind of get that, you can start to attack. And speaking of attacking, going for a move here on Ascari. Actually, Ascari not in this race in real life. In this race as well, 70 laps IRL, which is, imagine, the speeds of these cars. The lap times that we were running was quite high, upwards of towards the 2-minute mark. Now not quite that long. Now my first lap was a minute 55. With this mod, it doesn't seem to have the capabilities to go further than that, but think a little bit quicker than that, as of course the second lap's going to be well quicker than all the other laps as well, because we aren't starting, so that's what the first lap's going to be a bit slower. But this battle with Ascari would actually pick up quite a bit, and we were having a good bit of fun right here. You can just see me go back up the inside here. Now just 2 laps to go at this point. Now looking up the inside into turn 1, trying to get it right on that concrete right there on the right side, and we continue side by side on the exit of the corner, but finally we're through, it looks like. Hold on, Ascari's still just kind of peeking the nose, but not quite enough. Up into P7. Do we have enough time to catch Fangio, who's 3 seconds up the road? It was now 2 seconds up the road there, getting as close as I can to that concrete barrier on all the corners that has mainly those kind of sweeping corners right there, is where that concrete was located now as we come through the final turn. And by the final lap, Cabantu had actually taken the lead from the race, and it was actually Kelly and then Rolt up into second place, or in third place as well, as Fangio continued to drop down the order, and now we were right in the mix with these two drivers, Pagani and Fangio, 5th and 6th. Can we maybe steal a top 5 in this rewriting history of the first ever championship race Grand Prix in Formula 1? Now as we're right to the back of that green number 18 Alfa Romeo on the run down towards the right-hander, as we're going to try and go for an aggressive move around the outside. Does it work? Not quite, because of the understeer in this car. Really hard to make a move like that work now as we continue to struggle with oversteer on the exit of the corner, but really hustling this car to the absolute maximum capabilities that it has at this point, going for this opportunity right here up the inside. Just a handful of corners to go. This track, it's not a complicated layout. You can see it in the top right, a very simplistic layout here in 1950 Silverstone, but there's an aggressive move up the inside, running out of time to make moves side by side right there with Pagani on the exit of the right-hander. Job done. Clear for 6th place. Can we go get Fangio for 5th place? Fagioli down to 4th, slipping and sliding out of the penultimate corner on the run down towards the finish. It's sure enough going to be Cabantu who's going to come home and get the victory here of the British Grand Prix. We're going to sail it off here into the final turn, and it's not going to quite be enough. We're going to slip and slide on the exit, but P6 is what it's going to be as we rewrite the 1950 first ever championship race in Formula 1. History was made then, and it was a pleasure to relive it now. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.